gonna be a little bit late with the chat. Give me a sec. I'm just about turning it on. You'll have to let me know if everything is running smooth this time around, because I will sadly not be able to see unless you guys will inform me. I will not be able to know if everything is smooth. Quite a nice run-up that we got. In fact, exceeded everything I've expected here today. Pretty impressive. I mean, not really, but we are closing on a 555, which I did find to be kind of out of bounds for us. But, well, we'll see exactly how things are looking in a second and whether we can actually make it further up. No video. Tom is effing with me, right? Well, Tom is effing with me. Running smooth. You see, that's why you need good friends. No stocks, no market. Everybody everybody fold everything, go home. All right, so let's look at what I mean. No, we were expecting a correction to the downside. I can't stop laughing right now. What the hell, Tom? Stop it. Right, so let's go over everything. On the shorter time frame, what we really got, we've expected this. We expected a decent correction to the upside. We saw a bit of it on the 4 hours. In fact, look at the 4 hours, how it's looking right now. Looks like that convergence basically opened right up and, well, at least prolonged the process. So yes, can happen. Overall, nothing has changed on the grand scheme of things, but before we go far, let's look at what's going on. So in the short time frame, again, if we're looking at 1 minute, we're about kind of squeezing it, probably going to have some movement to the downside rather shortly, potentially in between now and market close. This seemingly looks bullish, but it could be very confusing. We'll see what the adjacent timeframes are letting us know, whether this is more of a downtrend wave or an up wave kind of thing, really what's going on, because this could converge and we can see that this is going to end up being a downtrend basically representation, although we can see it was definitely not a downtrend, right? So really what it is, it's I think this is just going to be some noise in between. 5 minutes, again, not too indicative. Let's continue looking at more interesting time frames, and there we go. This is where things start to get more interesting. Now 30 minutes, we know at this rate we can of course kind of start to look at what's going on at this the final 30 minutes of the hour, but we can also see what we should be able to see potentially out from here. So we're already in overbought territory. We are moving. The forces are basically converging. We're gonna have here that crossover. Once we go red, we become more red, more bearish, right? So very much indicative that tomorrow session, at least overnight, some portion of the upcoming babushka pattern babushka pattern so this is more bearish, this is more babushka pattern. But as you see, this is very slow, so we still might squeeze out a little bit more. Does that mean we can actually make it? Black Mamba is crap. Why do you think I'm telling him it's disturbing? Because I'm kind of, throwing an eye a bit left, back and forth from the chat, and So the thing is that because the forces hasn't converged yet, really, and you can see really what this turned out to be is far more of a bullish trend, and this is just a pocket in between, basically almost in between process. So like we said, we were seeing this bullish process going on, but it actually impressed a little bit more than we expected. Again, same formation that we saw on the 45 minutes we get on the 1 hour, so still kind of bullish. That's why we're getting that potentially we might squeeze out to the 55555 area that we've seen before, testing all the way back to it, although it starts to seem as if we're running out of momentum on the vast majority of the smaller time frame. So this could be very much indicative that we will be going down. On the other hand, again, 4 hours, right? If we're going to look at 1 hour and we're going to look in that context of of the 4-hour, it looks like we have more bullishness, again allowing us to get to 555, potentially even slipping above it, retesting it again. So that kind of does confirm the bullish momentum we still have in the system. The 1 day still looks very bullish, so we don't know because that convergence didn't happen yet. We're gonna have to wait for tomorrow's session, right, to see how things are playing out. And of course, since we know overall the pressure is coming from the weekly and the monthly, so oh my god, my apologies, we know the majority of the pressure is actually coming from the larger time frame. So at the time being, what we're getting is more or less this just a cool off on the down wave. In other words, this will still continue moving downside, basically bringing it lower into oversold territory, amplifying. And as we already saw on the monthly, yes, this is temporary, still remaining in overbought, but as this already converged, we're going to see oversold conditions take dominance and then continue to bring us lower. It's just going to take a little bit of time. The only difference is some people might get a little bit too overexcited because we got a little bit more bullish momentum today than in the last couple of days. I wouldn't get excited about it too much. It still doesn't change the overall structure. As we said, the trend is your friend. So a little bit confusing today, I know. That means tomorrow we still can open with a little bit more bullish, but then continue with, as the day progresses, turn bearish, right? So this is not the change trending the trend changing direction. This is just a temporary cool off. That's what we're seeing on the indicators, right? Now back to Babushka pattern. Let me see. Nvidia actually impressed today. 116, we're still very, very far away from any short-term resistance, which is 128. Rather high, but you know what, because of how conditions are and the price action have played out today, let's stop for a second and actually let's take a refreshed look at Nvidia and see if we can see anything new. Did anything change? All right, so let's look. 5 minutes, we're still potentially somewhat bullish, right? Let's take things just at face value without sort of arguing whether it could be a confusing downtrend, confusing uptrend. Let's just take things at face value. At face value, this is bullish. Simple. We have more momentum to the upside, potentially becoming even overbought, bringing us closer to 128. I would not be surprised if we're going to test that being so close. I don't see any particular gaps, although this could be a gap. You know what? Actually, let me just do something here. Let me just do something. Right, so yes, I was wrong. So we actually have a gap right above us. No wonder I forgot to do that a little bit. No wonder we are dragging our feet around this area. We have a gap to close, which is here. That is the levels of 116.22 all the way to 119.03. All right, so we have a gap to close. I'm not surprised now. I should have noticed that before. So we're about to close that gap. We do have probably another one there, but I don't know if we're gonna be able to drag that far out based on the 5-minute momentum. Let's see if the other time frame, other time frames give you more momentum to the upside, so we can close even that second gap. Basically, the question is whether it's gonna get actually close to 128, which is the upside resistance. Now, looking at this momentum, you're probably looking at a good day that will be dragged out by the indices, potentially allowing you to maybe even open up with the gap on the top and slide down through it, thus closing the gap. This is what this is looking like. 45 minutes overbought as well, not big surprise. Overbought, not big surprise. Let me just clean it up so you can see. Overbought, you see, we've been overbought. Basically, this is how the momentum is being squeezed, right? You're squeezing it to absolute death when you run out of the impulses on the ways, basically completely run out. This is very much indicative, and that's when you start breaking down, giving us this. Whew. And 4 hours, let's see what 4 hours. Yeah, that makes about enough sense. I mean, 4 hours squeezing this, testing this area, maybe even squeezing right above it. I don't think we're gonna be able to make it to that top gap that was around 125, maybe sliding above. This is very unlikely, could be unlikely though based upon this, and starting to close. Why? Because this is a single session. That looks right about a session to me. Could be a very successful session. I doubt it though, based upon what we saw on the indices. The indices are getting ready to drag the market lower. And remember, I've given it the credence of actually going to the downside because it's going to start higher with the gap of the indices will drag it through basically overnight. The indices will bring it higher or it within itself and then close that. Don't forget we have a very volatile day with a lot of reports tomorrow. PPI, if I'm not mistaken, and well, I need to check just to be sure. I'm not going to say some nonsense, but we have several reports tomorrow. Daily is actually bullish at face value. Let's just be honest, it looks bullish, but I would argue again I shouldn't be doing that. But remember, I'll just say remember that it's still in oversold territory and hasn't truly really broke through. What you're seeing is again the once you these forces can still cross over and basically bring us back into oversold, which is far more likely. Likewise, okay, like this or like this, and the market likes to. This is how the waves actually look like. They're far longer than most people perceive them. We were on the daily just now, right? We looked at the daily. Let's continue to the weekly. What is the weekly telling us? The weekly is actually downtrending, so and still in oversold territory. So get ready for more pain. This is how the crab gets boiled. Ladies and gents, this is how the crab gets boiled. The crab doesn't notice he's being boiled. Yes, the crab goes up and he's very happy about these ups, but he doesn't realize that really what he is going down, and eventually he's boiled right to that 91.86. So what I am saying is that we will test far more likely, if at all, our highest selling right now is 128 area, although I don't think we're going to make it there. I think if anything, we have roughly, give or take what I said, into the closing some of these gaps to around 118-ish it was, I think. Maybe slightly higher, 119. Breaking back down to 110 still is actually our support. This is kind of what we're moving into, if you didn't notice, rather. Right, once we're done with this, we break down back to 100, which we already tested. If you didn't notice, it's kind of part of what we've been doing. Let's see if I can remove that without that. Oh, right, perfect. So as you've been probably, I don't know, those who noticed or not, really what's going on here is that we've been testing this range between 110 and 100, and thus it seems, although very, very much not directly indicative or clear on the smaller time frames, we are actually going down, right? So be clear that you understand that the larger time frames are far more dominant, and we can do a lot more damage that we can do in a couple of months doing this, moving into the moving to the downside, more than we can do in a couple of days, weeks, or any other time frame we looked through. So this takes a while. This takes a while. And again, we do have, give or take, rough measurements of how long these processes take, or why am I thinking that we're going to break down. All right, Mr. Henke. Mr. Henke pattern. Mr. Poo-Poo pattern. Yes, those who don't know Mr. Henke. That's NVIDIA for you in a nutshell. NVIDIA looking at first glance very bullish, but really it's kind of a fake out. Nom, 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 nom. Let's continue. Since Tom is here, of course, we're going to have to find the Babushka pattern on Palantir. That's very important. Palantir Babushka pattern. Yeah, I gotta say, at this rate, it looks like we're moving to 3604. But you know what? Before we make any judgments, let's look at the technicals. The technicals are allowing it. I'm not going to be surprised. I mean, this is borderline, right? Let's just, but I have an interesting feeling that what we're gonna see here, yeah, so we're not really truly done with this. We're kind of still dashing back and forth. You can see from first glance it looks like we're moving quite upside, but really what it is more of a flag formation, if anything, more of an entanglement. We probably have a golden pocket, not probably, I'm rather sure we have a golden pocket in between the levels here. It just sort of happens to be there, if you will. What else? What we have here is this is still upside, so not gonna be surprised to make it to that 3604. Those who are looking to capitalize on short term, I mean, that could be just the right thing for you. Again, I'm not here to give you financial advice. You do you. So, but that's what I'm seeing. I am seeing how the price action on Palantir can easily make it into that 3604, 3664 area. But subsequently then get ready to correct with the rest of the indices. And look here, we're looking already on the weekly, monthly. Everything is being basically overbaked at this point. More so, wow, making those highs, yeah. Yeah, I should have noticed as well, we've made previous highs. I mean, this is this is within itself, and the levels that coincidentally we're matching on right now, just to kind of give you an idea. These levels, I just make them stand out a little bit. No, that doesn't really stand out. Let's try to make it stand out like this. No, on my, oh my god, on my chart nothing jumps out. Let's try to make it blue. Blue? Yes, blue hard. Yeah, okay. So this blue line, right, is the previous resistance we had, removing, barring, you know, the movement we had during. So basically, we do have a resistance here. The market perceives this highs, although just of the candlesticks bodies. Still, there is a form of a resistance here. Surprise, surprise. Get this. This actually seems to be the thing that is holding us back in a formal way. The question is, can we break through it? Last time when we've been there, we broke back down. Do we have any reasoning to think that this time around we're ready to run upwards? No. In fact, we have all the reasons in the world to think we're going to run downwards, thus correcting again. So again, correlates very well with the indices, what we're seeing on the indices, so it all makes sense. Pretty impressive, I gotta say. This is no, that's not what I wanted. Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. All right, so now that we've gone to look at this, that's Palantir in a nutshell. We do have maybe a little bit more bullishness in the system, but even if we do, not a lot. Quite a little bit altogether. It is impressive we got that far. Then again, we do know what this is built upon. It's predicated on people's opinion and expectation with the S&P inclusion. So that's that. Tesla breaking up. Why are you saying Tesla breaking up? Tesla is actually doing well. Oh, breaking upwards, you mean? 226. No, why? We've done that before. I mean, nothing. All that. The market today is very positive. It would be rather unreasonable that an asset that was holding rather well in the last couple of weeks when we were going down suddenly to change direction. No, but you see, it's not all that excessive. It's testing the same resistances we've had before and probably gonna go back down. Why? We've already gone through these. Most of the assets. The problem is that most people don't realize why I prefer to run through the indices, because the indices basically dictate what the asset's going to do to a very severe extent. So all in all, what you're gonna see on the assets is maybe something that will allow the market to push a little bit higher temporarily. So for example, this structure actually allows me to think that, yeah, those who remember, I've mentioned this gap from before. We've closed a part of it all the way to 234. We still have the leftover of the gap, the 245.63. So all in all, this actually could be very much indicative of a closure of the gap and only then a correction. Why do we think a correction? Because at the end of the day, this is just a cool off on the way down. Here, let me show you. Okay, the same thing we saw before. The market does these things, it does these processes right before it hits the bottom. That's normal. That's simply because the market allows very convenient trades to take place, and of course, inherently people take them, and you see volume coming through. So there's that. That's actually, by the way, how we squeeze the lemon out right before it is squeezed to death. Again, at face value, this looks somewhat bullish, but I will tell you it's not really is. It far more likely is to break based upon that same guideline we've been seeing all along for the past. Those who are not aware, we've been under the influence of the same trend for the past 1,000 days, not including weekends. No, actually, it's more. I should have included this, but it doesn't matter. 1,000 plus days. So all in all, what you need to understand is this trend, although right now, based upon the conditions, we're still hovering above the resistance right there, but this is the guidance, and we're still probably gonna break down based upon larger time frames. We are basically in oversold territory, and what we've done in the last couple of months was just a process of a bit relief. That's all. And remember, this is still highly influenced by in the indices. So that is that. Let's see what we're doing here. Yeah. Here we don't have data. Yeah, we don't have data. So we're still highly in oversold, and we've just went bearish in oversold territory on the half year. Yeah. So on the grand structure of things, we are not doing well, and if the indices are not doing well, the individual assets cannot be doing all that well. That just kind of goes hand in hand. This is why I prefer to go over the indices. But okay, we've given Tesla a look. Those who think Tesla is about to explode and can see a way to capitalize on it, very, very cool. I would just be very, very careful. That's all. Good evening. Notice how bearish momentum is always to the right of the bullish momentum. The future must be bearish. No, the future is actually bullish. Okay, this is not. Wait, what? No, this is just the structure. That's just how it works. This is no. Not at all. The future is actually bullish. The market in its nature is bullish. The cycles end up always being bullish. They just are not pleasant and quite longer than people realize. Casey, thank you very much. I'm sorry, but on that one you were a bit wrong. You didn't really get it, but I think you were just laughing. I might be wrong. Talk about some of the lowest floors. Will there be a test and retest of those levels? And will it hit those levels only for a brief moment? No, Danny, I don't think so. If you objectively look at the bottoms when they happen in history, they give you more than enough time to buy in, and the bottom is not determined. But we can try and locate the exact price point where the market will flip over. Does it matter? If you buy in the lower range, let's say the asset is $1,000, you assess the floor to be 300, right? But then it drops to, I don't know, you start DCAing at 400, and somehow it happened that you never actually caught it at 300, never actually had a buy-in at 300. Your lowest buy-in ended up being 303. Are you really upset? Look, it's about a range. Even I agree when it comes to trying to time the market, no one really try. The fact that I at times can, even at times I get something. When depends on how accurate and how short term I'm trying to discern, particular movements, nor whether do I follow up on them. But what we're trying to time is more or less trying to time. Well, we're not timing it. This is kind of a very weird thing that I'm trying to say. We're not timing it in terms of time. What we are looking for, we're trying to find, is a common ground with regards to a price point. Price points is how we're looking for these checkpoints, if you will, and these checkpoints are represented in terms of price. We can give a rough give or take assessment of how quickly or how slowly something will happen based upon momentum, right? But should you really? No, you shouldn't. And here I'm going to talk ill about options. I'm sorry, but that's the reality. Institutions are structured in such a way that they can always fix and correct, and they have plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E, plan F, and 5 other plans, and the liquidity to back them up. The reason that the tools are being given to your average trader is because the average trader will end up losing more money to the market. Maybe if not today, over some period of time, what you end up doing is collecting the money to one place for them and then just losing it in one go. So you've done the hard work for them. Options are not very forgiving, right? And again, our perception of these things are very, 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 very different. And if you don't look at this as an option trader, you look at it very differently than somebody who just underline buying and selling, or somebody who's an investor. So at the end of the day, what you want to be when you are an investor or even a swing trader is find a relative bottom, find a range that is acceptable to be perceived as low range. And yes, it will get retested many times, and the funny thing is that we all come to agreement that it's the bottom when it does, and by then you see most people cry how come they ran out of money trying to catch all these falling knives, right? So there's that for you. I just clean this up a little bit. I hope I was able to answer your question there. Money is fun. Arnold, losing money is not fun. What are you talking about? 36 is next fib level. Went probably down, retest 30 break. You're talking about Palantir there, I'm assuming. It's more of that 35, 33, and then 36, and then 36, so 64. But yeah. You get the idea. You get the idea, very correct. But it's not gonna be easy. Not gonna be easy at all, Black. Mr. Mamba, this is not your average sort of play if you are, even for traders. Be very careful with such things. Just 2 days to go, I made prediction video going to 117, close gap, probably we down again under 100. Murat, no, you and I remember we're definitely in agreement about Nvidia, and yes, we both of us definitely understand that these processes are not straightforward. More so, I would think that most of my subscribers and members here are already familiar and understand how these sort of things work, so nothing is linear. But yeah, I do think within the next following days, we will be having a correction back to, of course, 110, 17 we know is sort of falls right there in between there, and we have 100. So absolutely, Murat, very good. I agree with you, but 117, we're thinking about the gap. We're on the same page there, absolutely. Where was I? Great day to shop. I forgot to say. I mean, you know what? Let me just show you, so you guys not gonna think I'm lying. I can't. I can sort of show it. Most of you will not be able to understand it, and hasn't been really readjusted. I hope you can see on the screen, but that's a screenshot from my account. I bought those other 200 more that I told you. I'm no longer holding 1800 SQQQ. You can see SQQQ. It's just a derivative of QQ, so Pro Shares Ultra Pro Short. That's what it says here on Hebrew. My average is incorrect. It will get readjusted. I'll be able to tell you what my average is, but I already got today 200 to complete as I've expected, and I told you I will be buying. Here it is, just as I told you I did. Got lower than expected, and I actually might buy right now while we're talking and having this session and complete a little more. Why not? I just might do that as well. My plug was definitely having a very nice day today. I should have bought a little bit more, but sadly I didn't have the free liquidity. I just kind of bought it with some extra chips, if you will, that I had available at the time. Only got 205, I think. I didn't even buy it by an amount as I usually do. I bought it merely by amount of money that I had just sort of left over, chump change there. So I got that. That is about the SQQQ, since you already mentioned it, and I decided to say something about it. Why not? Let's see where we're at today. Yeah, Nvidia's having quite an explosive day today, quite strong. I bought a bunch today, 200 of them to be more precise, because my last position was 1800. Now it's 2000. So yes, Brad, I concur. I'm half of ABCL. Dumped half of ABCL for... okay, I see, Alex. Nannies, boys and girls, quick shout out to our amazing Discord. Give me a sec. Here we have our amazing Discord. Thank you, Mama. 18,200 people. We have the public. You will have the link. Of course, you have the members. This is where you get to hang out with me and to ask in-depth questions. I hang out right here. Reminding you quickly, one of the spots is already probably being already taken, so we're now down to only 2 final spots in my one-on-one Technical Analysis Academy. One-on-one, I teach you how to analyze things in depth and be able to do a lot more than what we're doing here on the daily basis. That is very, very basic. The stuff that we're doing here, most juniors learn in their first 5 days in the industry. I do teach far more in-depth strategies that actually allow you to analyze the market, understand the connections between things, and why so, and how so, and all that beautiful stuff. Mama posted a link in the Discord for you, in the chat for you. That's how you join the Discord. Make sure you confirm the rules, otherwise you will be stuck. Very important, my Patreon, $10, and it allows you to join 4 Zoom calls instead of being public, which we open once a month. You get to join 4 Zoom calls a month and more sometimes, more exclusive community activities in our Discord. Make sure you realize that when you join Patreon, all the activities are on Discord. Okay, so you join just as a gateway process, then the bot knows how to give you your necessary role, and that's it. That's kind of the little rant about that. To sign up on the one-on-one academy, you have to DM me on Discord, right? The only way to sign up to the academy is to reach out to me directly. If you don't have the members list, that's on the PC, not on the phone. You have your members list right here. Hide members list. You see, like that. Me, you just DM me, send me a message, right? And we have a call. And if you like what I offer, I like sort of the person you are, your intentions with this course, we proceed, make a schedule for you, and you start studying. That is the academy. Okay, now that I've done a bit of a shameless plug, let's continue. Like button, Alex, just like Alex said, don't forget the like button is there, and it's neglected, and it's absolutely free. I swear to God, pressing the like button is free. Really helps out me, the community, yourselves. Palantir is an investment. I'm looking to add. Absolutely, Mamba. This is, if you're looking at this like Tom, this is for you, just a buying opportunity. You don't have to sell. We spoke. First of all, you don't have to do anything, right? None of this is financial advice. But at the end of the day, if a drop for you signals just buying, Tom, I wish, I hope Tom right now is maybe busy, but at least he can hear this. This is absolutely what Tom preaches, and I cannot disagree with it. Why? Because that's the closest we can get to bulletproof, and more so, if you don't feel comfortable doing these things, you shouldn't. If your confidence is structured based upon just buying, done. That's what you should be doing. I'm assuming Kunai, just the day before we don't cut Nasdaq, Nvidia can go down massively. I feel like that, my opinion. All right. My head jumped. 120% up. Holding. Options are not for me. I'm not going to talk about options. Sorry. Whoa, Alex. Whoa, that's impressive. Don't get carried away as well. Know to put your limit and prepare. Again, remember, this is just an insurance policy. Yes, it's going to be quite a yielding insurance policy if I'm right and all that, but still don't get carried away. Bye, we love bag holders. Actually, sadly, what Arnon is saying, it's true. I mean, that what's going on there is right now quite bag holderish in the market right now, if you're looking at this objectively. New lows, delicious, absolutely. Read and confirm the rules. Boys and girls, read and confirm the rules when you enter the Discord. Very important. Just like Nanny says here, you need to read and confirm the rules. It's very important. Otherwise, you'll be stuck in limbo, not going to get to see the actual server ever. What did I miss? I didn't miss anything, it seems. Don't forget to... Arnon, don't listen to Arnon, especially when he talks about Shopify. what if you had a great profit and your stock goes below your entry? Oh my God, Judy, no, you didn't wait that far. No. Yes, you should. I mean, no, I cannot tell you what you should have done, right? That's your choice. But if we're looking at how I would manage my portfolio and would I have done that, yes, that's the reason why we exercise some of our portfolios at time for particular times to avoid exactly these sort of circumstances. And we definitely use stop losses and take profits and whatever we need. Definitely stop losses. People underestimate the power of a good stop loss. Don't do that. Very sorry to hear for you, Judy. Very sorry. Hang out with us in the voice chat. Talk to us. We can see what sort of hints or tips can we give or ideas we can come up with. But you might have been already at the you might be already at the point where you missed the train and now you're gonna have to wait. So sorry to hear that, Judy. So sorry. Big crash by the end of 2024, G. It seems like, yes, from, I mean, again, I cannot tell you, that no one has a crystal ball, but the technicals currently are very, very indicative of exactly that. The yearly looks horrible and have been preparing to go that way for a long time, which I was warning and I was saying that, look, this thing does not look healthy at all. And the worse it got, the worse I was sort of, calling it out. And this is very confusing to people. So you really have to be in depth on technicals to understand, and more so to apply completely different tools than just a stochastic RSI to actually recognize that this is falsehood. This is not really bullish. It is just a temporary relief process. It's an in-between wave, which is sort of, it is kind of ironic. If you think about it, it's almost like a caricature. So really what you got is the downside here, which looks very small. This is very small and looks very big, right, on the actual price action. So it's kind of a caricature of reality. But more so, there are other forces here at play. There are various forces that basically what they represent is that the fact of the matter that the market have been already on a turnaround process is just very, very long. It's sort of as slow as turning around a tanker, right? You can't really turn it on the spot, and by the time you recognize it's too late, it's far too late. You're by then you're already a bag holder, basically, which is kind of how they structure the whole thing. And if you look, even if we're long on a long range, the medium long range, if you will, sort of the monthly, which gives you at least potentially, if you use it right, up to 3, 4, 5 months outwards, and more so, of course, we're actually looking at about 6 to a year, 6 months to a year, right, of downside. And it's quite evident on the monthly chart. It's just starting very, very slow. Right now, what we're seeing is basically we're hyper zoomed in on this is when we're talking about the smaller time frames, and this is what we see when we zoom out, that we're becoming slowly bearish and turning around, which of course we understand that is a part of the grand structure of things as well. 3 months where we discuss this again. The wave is, look, this is pointed down, but the wave is up. It's not straightforward. This tool does not translate directly through, especially on larger time frames. The larger we go, it represents waves. This is like a seismograph, right? And it doesn't do a great job when with regard to being clear and distinctive to what it's actually doing on larger time frames. This is why you actually need to know more tools and know how to apply them the right way and how to draw the correlations between particular assets, and only then realize how really bearish the market is. It's not evident immediately, especially not with the basic tools. Let's see, where were we? Sorry. Give me a sec. What is that? stop is around 27. Technically. And then Nvidia going deeper the day before rate cuts because euphoria in price. I'm reading your question, Murad. There, I'm reading your question about Nvidia. Yes, could be the 127 range, 128. I think it was. What was it? I think it was 127, 128. What was it? I had it on the other chart. Oh, went too far. Sorry. Where's that? Where's that gap? We said it ends. No, that's too far. Give me a sec. I wanna really find it. So let's see what we're talking about here. 125, it seems, actually. 125. 125, but then again, some slippage, because, yeah, then you have that 127 or 128, I think it was, yeah. Yeah, 127, 128, give or take. Arnon, IWM 40% upside. All right, cool. Yes, dumping garbage stocks. Bouncing off 555, right? I mean, yeah, there we go. Actually, wow, yeah, just like we just spoke, 55555. There we go. Seems so. I mean, we're starting to build back down, right? We're already formation start to seem no. I mean, unless this is, well, let me see, 30 minutes. Yeah. We're done. We're about done. Here it is. It's already starting to form. Quite impressive. I mean, this lemon was squeezed to death. Yeah. It looks like 555 is our resistance, Casey. Yeah. As expected. This really doesn't smell like we can make it to 584. I doubt it. With the convergence being just around the corner, we're there. Nikunaj, what is that? Who are you talking to there, Murat? What is that? Nihuyasim? That's what you're saying? I'm not sure. I'm confused what you're saying there, Murat. But then our goes upper, and if we're really in down channel, price will go deeper in any case. Yes, correct. Yes, Murat. So sorry. Cuts affect the market next week. So if you look at, you know what? Let me bring this one up. Let me see if I can bring this one picture up right now, real quick. Let me bring this one thing up. Give me a second. I try to show you. I try to show you, no problem. Do you see? This is what happened when Fed rate increases, rate hikes. Yes, da? When rate hikes were actually going, you see the market goes up. And in reality, when we're going into a recessionary period, for example, when we actually had the prime mortgage real estate bubble, again, damn it, I said bubble. Not bubble. It's not a bubble. It's a crisis, okay? Never say bubble. It's not a bubble because it's bullshit. Bubble is tulip mania. It's something that has no application. Housing market is not a bubble. It was just deflated because it was over inflated because of what happened in the dot-com crash, okay? So just kind of a thing. So the market back then crashed 51%, and the secondary wave of it was 58%, right? So this already, we kind of had this, and it was rather tame. And They, of course, tamer than the 51. And during these periods, if you really want to be objective, this is where the rate cuts actually happen. During these periods of the market correcting downwards, that's where actually the Fed are cutting rates. Okay, it's what happens when you drag your feet for too long and don't really correct inflation, and you're far too busy with presenting fake numbers to, well, it's a highly politicized game, it seems to be. I don't want to go into why. The why is weird. There is highly debated because, as far as it seems, JP is a Republican, is not a Democrat. He is conservative, it seems, or at least officially. We don't think he should be bought out nor serving the Democratic agenda, which he seems to be, because the numbers cannot be real right now. Go to the store and, feel it for yourself. We keep on discussing it. It's just bullshit. The CPI numbers we're getting right now, if you ask me, they're utter bullshit. Arnold and I discussed this many times. If you adjust even if you adjust to seasonality, which they need to be doing, right? Sort of the weight they give to every separate parameter in the CPI report, but it's just not making any sense. It's not. Whether, by the way, whether we're looking at discretionary or non-discretionary spending. Well, let's see. No, by the way, let's bring that back down. Let's see what's going on here. And that's cool. Look, I really don't mind this. That allows me to, like I said, pick up some more triple Qs, which I gladly did. Nice. Oh, well, congrats. Really got him a very awesome price. Congrats. That's stochastic RSI. It's similar to RSI, but it's a little bit more functional. The range is also very different. It's not 30 and 70, it's 20 and 80, but in essence it functions very similarly to RSI, and sadly it has very similar drawdowns. It's drawbacks, if you will. It's far from, it's stochastic RSI. And it's an exponential way of seeing what the RSI does, barring some anomalies. It sort of smoothens the process and removes the anomalies. Thus allows you to see a very more distinct view of the actual trend. SPY to Alex again. SPY. I don't know SPY. I don't care about SPY. I don't know what the SPY is. I never heard about it. I don't know. I know SPX. You heard about SPX, Alex? He's gonna get upset at me right now. Yeah, it should. I mean, if we're looking relatively, if we're looking SPY, SPX, I mean, 540. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yes to you, Alex. Tom Lee is not full of shit. It's a little bit more complicated. Well, first of all, you see, people on his level do not operate in a way you guys can understand. Nor can they dump the same way you guys perceive, nor can you. The amounts of their holdings are very different. If you put yourself in their shoes, you understand that he's not full of shit. He's in fact probably doing what's good and what's right by his clients. You're not his clients. That's what you need to understand. If you are his clients, that's a whole different ball game. But you are not. If you're a subscriber to his newsletter, you're still not his clients. That's a whole different ball game. That's where they apply the double speak and all that. Look, that is the reality of things. You need to remember, he has no fiduciary duty to you, and those who he has, he probably is doing a great job for. he earned his place, as Tom said, as a semi demigod, rightfully so, right? I mean, it didn't just happen overnight. He was right many times. He was far more correct than many clowns in the market that said that the market will continue crashing, and he was somehow, I don't know how, because it seems like he's skipping leg day, like we said. If technical is leg day, then he's skipping leg day. By the way, shout out to Tom Nash, the legend. That is his analogy. I did not think of comparing technical analysis to leg day because it's the least fun and hardest thing to do, and most people don't and just skip it. That is Tom Nash's analogy. Shout out to him, boys and girls. As much as he likes to yell that he doesn't like trading and all that, he's probably my best help when it comes to actually thinking about video ideas and all that stuff, guys. As much as I help him, he helps me just as much. I gotta admit, like in a whole different way, but yeah. So that's Tom's analogy. Our Tom Nash's analogy about how technical analysis is basically the leg day, and in essence, Tom Lee is skipping it. So here you go, guys. You now know that actually Tom Nash came up with it. Tom Lee says 53.50. That's it. That's like the bottom. He says that's all he's saying. I mean, we're just kind of gonna test this within no time, and also okay, we'll be able to test this rather soon. And I do believe it's probably we're gonna see some price action around these levels inherently because people will buy into the agenda. Very much probable. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But didn't he say lower? Only 53.50? That was his low? I think he said lower. Hit the Greg like button. No. Oh, Useless is saying hit the Greg like button. Hit the like for Greg in the last is the least you can do for him. Right. That is actually true. The like is absolutely free. I'll tremendously appreciate it if you have not yet done so. Thank you if you can. That is tremendously appreciated. Minnesota. Useless. Even I got that one. Minnesota. No, I can't even say it. I can pronounce it. Only Alex can. Too many hasses on to protect the end of the exactly. He has people he has fiduciary duty too, and that's not us, boys and girls. You be your own fund manager, your own account manager. Don't just blindly listen, see it facts, and tell yourself, what's going on, and if what Tom Lee is saying makes sense. Sure, no one says don't, but be your own, cabeza. You see, it's how weird that we're getting stuck weirdly enough at that now. What a weird number to be stuck at. Wouldn't you agree? Who could have known that weird number? I mean, what a weird number to be stuck at, wouldn't you say? Very interesting. I'm no longer stuck on it, of course. I just said. Who moved the mouse, boys? Who bought? You shouldn't be buying. All right, well, market is closed. I think we can adjourn this meeting. We already kind of said what we expect for tomorrow. Even if we do have some more squeeze, this is one hell of a candlestick. This is one hell of a nice candlestick right there, boys and girls. Coincidentally, of course, we tested what we're already familiar with, that 5. You can see we're jerking up and down. We know we're testing it right now. Let's see how tomorrow will open. But generally speaking, we know that larger time frames are inherently leading us to the downside. As much as I know some of you would like, for it not to be so, just it is what it is. My god, I cannot see what Murat is writing because of the annoying thing with YouTube, how YouTube works. Let's just put something so I can see. Why is it not working now? Oh, okay, now I can see. Good. And by the time I freaking press the buttons, everything moves. Greg, possible to see in 6,000 by SPX. What? What? Greg, possibly to see, is it basically, I think you're asking, is it possible to see 6,000 an SPX by 2020, by the end of 2024? Murat, everything is possible. Is it probable? Very improbable, and I would highly, this is there, you can join us. I highly recommend join us on the Discord. As we said, we can debate this and I can explain, give or take, why, but this is beyond improbable. Even this is just pure insanity. 5800 is the highest I gave, just because this is highly deviated potential technicals that are not even at play. Like, I kind of had to stretch the potential, and even that just led me to 5800, not 6000. So I don't see that. No, no, Murat. I could be wrong. 2028. I mean, 25, 6 down. So, yes. Actually, Alex is closer. 2028. No, look, it depends on how quick the down process and the up process will take, right? We've seen that if we objectively look at processes as such before, right? If we're going to look at, for example, 2000, and some people are arguing this, that. I'm going to argue that. Last time we've done this, the whole process took us 1,947 days, not including weekends. And that's back to back. So that's why we're looking at 2028. Highly can be potential. It doesn't mean there's not going to be upside down in that process, but the overall process. So that if you want to look, okay, so if you want to look at the drop to correction, right? Because you're saying 6,000. 6,000 is coming back to where we are right now and exceeding it, right? So if we're just looking at the correction, just the sheer correction within itself takes you 539 days, not including weekends. And that's just give or take. Again, hours this time around can be longer. It could be 600 days, not including weekends. No one promises you it's going to be this long. It can be longer, it can be shorter. It can be, 300 and something, not including weekends. Whatever. You get the idea. It's not going to be exactly as before. We just look at previous examples to discern how slow and how long, give or take-ish, these things can take. So if we are going for that deep of a correction, yeah, it's going to take a goddamn long time. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Boys and girls, we're about to adjourn the live. In the chat right now, Mama posted for you my Patreon, the investor Patreon. It's only $10 a month, which is a bargain. There is no other cheaper way to get into our Patreon and subsequently enjoy all the benefits in Discord. This gives you up to 4 and maybe a little bit more Zoom calls a week that we do with Tom. Of course, I participate when we have a lot more talking technicals to talk about. I talk as well, other activities, and hopefully, some other sort of extra calls I'll be doing soon. And there's a lot of good perks. I'm a shitty salesman. I'm not here to sell the Patreon. It's mainly for you. Tom keeps on knocking on me. I'm a shitty salesman. And it's true. He's right. But I'm going to tell you at this point that if people cannot recognize the value behind our community that somehow managed to make it all the way to 18,000 people. Yes, we're at 18,000 people and 200 and closing further. So, and we see you have the public members, but to have all the more benefits to actually get to hang out with us and all that wonderful stuff. I highly recommend, of course, asking me about the one-on-one academy. It seems like I'm gonna have just one spot available, 2 spots available, at least for now, and once they are locked, they're gonna be locked until further notice, so don't miss out. That's it. That's it, boys and girls. If you really want to be a technical analysis pro, if you will, or learn how the pros actually do it, get in touch with me, DM me while there are still spots. When they're locked, they're locked. That's it. Boys and girls, you all have a wonderful night. think we've covered everything and all we expect for tomorrow. A final glance at, yeah, guys, do I really have to say how well we closed at 55555? I mean, who here thinks it's a coincidence? Who here thinks it's a coincidence? You know, we're closing at 55555. Weird coincidence, isn't it? Kind of stuck there. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, knocking futs. Yeah, right, right. How do we say magic? Told you, boys and girls, the method works. It's just the ability to apply it, and sometimes, yeah, the market maybe has a little bit, a little bit margin of error, a little slippage. But all in all, the trend is your friend. Don't fight it. Boys and girls, good night. I will see you on the Discord. And yeah, the Academy members as well. We'll see you on the Discord as well. Alrighty. Boys and girls, have a good night.